Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Rando fans. My name is Radical Sniper 99, and I'm joined by Star 1468 for this league mystery race between Laoria and Amarith.
Hi everyone, welcome. We've got Mystery Week, so we've got Laoria and Amarith. Laoria of Please Clap, Amarith of Swedish Rubbers. Should be a pretty good match. Please Clap top in the division, with 18 points. Swedish Rubbers more in the mid, kind of near the bottom with 9 points. Hoping to maybe get a win, have better chances of moving on, but not looking as good for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, so Please Clap up towards the top. It looks like currently Boomer Friendly is at the top of the division. Please Clap tied with Hyrule Track and Field at both at 18 points. So they've all played 9 games so far. So this will be Please Clap's second matchup for Mystery Week. Just so everybody knows what we do know about this seed right now. We do know it's an inverted seed. We saw that during the intro credits. And we can also see that it's an Atomizer seed.
Hey, and they do not start with a sword either.
Yeah, no sword, no boots, and we don't know about that flute. So
no, we
got
don't.
we got different starts.
Blue in Link's house. Okay, that's both of those entrances are vanilla. That's a good sign.
Much appreciated, I'm sure, on both of our runners' side to possibly be in an entrance.
Oh god, like yesterday I commentated a league match that was inverted cross keys Atomizer. That was an adventure for everyone involved.
I anticipate we're going to get a map check sooner, but okay, so we know it's a compass shuffle.
Oh boy, so it's at least some form of map compass shuffle. The others are not so guaranteed. We also saw just a heart piece and bumper ledge for Amarith.
Now, for that flute, we actually will have to gain Light World access before we can even activate it. So we're kind of a little limited here.
Yeah, enemies look to be vanilla, so it looks like we have some form of boss miser, perhaps, as that's a vanilla Skullwoods key that did not give you a text box. So
actually,
no small keys.
Basic enemies are definitely very much randomized. So this is at least basic enemies, and yeah, we'll see about the bosses. And we do have a map shuffle as well.
Yeah, I think map and compass are together, but it doesn't look like we have key sanity. Amarith just picked up a vanilla Skullwoods key that did not give any text box.
Now, the one thing to keep in mind actually there is Mystery in the League actually has small key, all 4 of the key sanity settings are actually completely decoupled. So we could still have big key shuffle and not know
that is correct.
So we do know
that small keys are vanilla, but big keys are small keys are just in their respective dungeons. Big keys might not be.
Correct. Now, what we're seeing from both of our runners here is a very traditional inverted start. This back of Skullwoods entrance, or back of the front of Skullwoods, is a great way to grind out some bombs and also some small magic drops. So Amarith is actually really focusing in there a bit more, getting a few extra drops, while Laoria only got a few, 5 bombs. Both are reasonable amounts to pick up that early.
Yeah.
It looks like the reason there is Amarith's actually going to go south and check out Hype Cave, while Laoria did find our hammer.
Indeed. Hammer and Skull Post, front of Skullwoods. And Amarith is gonna check out Hype Gate, which has 10 arrows on the first the NPC. In the back we have a bow, some bombs, some money, and a heart piece. Bow is nice. The rest, not so much.
Yeah, that's definitely possibly hinting we might be making an early pod play.
Absolutely.
And luckily, Amarith does have 20 rupees, which is huge in an inverted seed, because that will give her the ability to actually hit up the archery game. So I would expect Amarith to actually probably play at least a few rounds of archery.
Good early way to grind up some money.
Yeah, if you ever start getting into inverted, this is definitely one of the things you really want to focus on learning how to do effectively to very, smartly earn that money. Now, unfortunately for Laoria, that anti-fairy has just decided, yeah, I'm gonna camp up there and I'm not leaving.
Nope.
But yeah, here we go on Amarith's side with the archery game. What you're looking for is for one of the targets to just cross into that second curtain. You fire off the shot and you can hit that target every time. This is, without even worrying about the 99 play, but this is a great way to just get really quick rupees. And it looks like Amarith's just going with one round of that. I think if Amarith had found the hammer already, I think she probably would have grinded a couple more times just to have pod money. But given we don't think there's a way over there yet, that's my assumption as to why she only played once.
Yeah, no hammer, no hookshot, no flippers. Yeah, not getting over that ways too quickly right now. Looks like Laoria also found a bug net in front of Skullwoods somewhere, maybe looking at the tracker that we said earlier. Big game for Amarith.
Yeah, Amarith got the blue mail off of the digging game, but is just trying to grind out a little bit of extra money. Usually find that you can get some good 20s out of there. So that blue mail is huge this early. We've got an enemizer seed, so enemies are all over the place, but this will save time.
Was it Amarith? Amarith? How do you pronounce that?
I've always been told it's Amarith.
Yeah, I've got no real idea.
So
fast map check from Laoria. I catch it, unfortunately.
Yeah, we were definitely in a map shuffle, so I didn't see any crystals on that one yet.
I'm not sure.
That might have been a first check from Laoria.
Yeah. Just 10 arrows in the C-shaped house.
And Laoria is heading into Village of Outcasts as well. So we're going to get some checks here from both of them. Amarith does have to head back into Skullwoods to find the hammer, though. That's going to be really important. But we might see... It's possible we could see Laoria jump into Thieves Town. Maybe, maybe not. Unfortunately, Laoria does not have money right now, though, so we're not going to get to see a chest game on her side.
No, it is. The flute was in Link's house, is where it is. So they basically start with the flute.
Yeah, we're just short of the starting flute, unfortunately. So they can't get around the world yet, but that will definitely be kind of top of mind when they get into the light world.
Yep. Alright, front of these down for them both. Nothing in the first chest. We will find out here what the boss key shuffle is, if any. Apparently none. Alright. No key sanity today. Or at least not for the actual keys. Maps and compasses are shuffled, though.
Yeah, that will be an interesting element to this one. The other big piece here, a kind of an advantage for Laoria is she can actually reach the pyramid right now and find out what that goal is going to be tonight.
We need to find out how many crystals are we going to need to beat Ganon. Love in the front of Thieves Town. That's light world access.
Yeah, we're just missing the moon pearl for that. So hopefully we do find that soon. Amarith will be likely death warping out of this dungeon. Without a real weapon, I can't imagine she's going to take a chance on the back.
No. Oh, or maybe she will. Never mind. We do admittedly we do know that there is some form of... Well, we do know that there is regular Enemizer, and we don't know if there is Boss Miser around, though. We'll find out, I suppose. It is good information. Thieves Town, one of the easiest dungeons to check for Boss Miser.
Good point. You know, if she does walk in that room and there is a boss, we know we're in a boss shuffle as well as a basic enemy shuffle, so worthwhile information to get this early.
That is no boss shuffle. That looks like there. Just a regular randomizer. Okay, also, apparently, what are you watching off of, actually? Jesse, because chat is saying we're ahead of stream.
I'm watching through the Discord side of things instead. I don't know which side you're watching on.
Oh, I noticed.
You're a little ahead
Yeah,
of
I've
me,
both been
actually.
watching it. Yeah, you were a little ahead of me earlier, so okay.
So Amarith did try to take a shot into the back of Thieves Town.
And just took a death. I think we
Yeah.
should now be in sync again. I'm not sure why we were not in sync earlier. You noticed the blue mail a good couple seconds before I did earlier, actually.
So Laoria is trying to head back there. This might be also a check on her end to check out the boss shuffle situation.
Yep, we know it's 0. Oh, that's a death for Laoria as well. And she's out.
I think that's a good decision at this point. Laoria does have enough money to play the archery game now, so hopefully we'll see at least one run there for digging game so she can get blue mail. And then maybe we'll see a play over to Hype Cave.
Ooh, and that's a death for Amarith to the Beamers.
Yeah, this Thieves Town setup has not been very kind so far. Definitely a lot of terrible enemies in terrible places. I believe we saw a wall. Yeah, we've got wall masters back here as well. Just nothing that's willing to kind of give us a break.
Nope, I know I've seen at least one Hinox as well in the back. That was a particularly rude surprise.
So we did get a couple of arrow games from Laoria, or it looks like 3 plays of the arrow game. Well done. You know, that gives a lot of money for starting inverted seeds. Real safe way to earn some money. And she'll definitely agree this was well worth it, getting blue mail momentarily. The other important thing about finding out that we have the blue mail, we know it's not hard item pool.
You know, this is just your regular, normal item pool, which is nice.
Now, the one question we don't know yet still, though, is this going to be a swordless seed?
I haven't seen any yet, but that's also not an indication of anything, really.
Yeah, so we've got some time to kind of figure that out. We'll see, you know, eventually what happens there.
Yeah, hammer that early in inverted does make it a little more suspicious, but nothing concrete yet.
Yeah, the one thing we're going to kind of look for there is, you know, maybe we'll get to find our way into Ice Palace early. At least that kind of feels like a safe-ish play to kind of go check that out. Obviously, you know, if we got Fire Rod, you could take an attempt walking into the back of Skull Woods, but that feels a little extra dangerous of a move.
Yeah. Attic Chest was some sort of junk for Amarith, I'm pretty sure. Or Amarith. Yeah, it's a harem map is what it was. Jesus. Ball and Chain Guard is not really something... Oh, that's a death. Well. Not that Amarith has any equipment to deal with Blight at the moment, either.
No, this is definitely a very interesting play on Amarith's side. I'm not
Really?
sure what...
Pushing for a blind cell. They don't have the hammer. She doesn't have the hammer yet because she didn't do that chest in the front of Skull Woods. I can't remember which particular chest, and so she can't even do the big chest.
Right. Yeah, this does feel a little awkward of a move at this point, just based on equipment available. Knowing you've already got the small key, you'd hope to have a hammer before you do this. But the dungeon is in logic at this point, so
It
anything's
is.
tricky in there.
But I'm a little more surprised that Laoria, they usually kind of the opposite of what I would expect them to do. Laoria choosing to bail despite actually having the hammer, which gives you the big chest and the ability to fight blind, although it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I think this comes down to, understanding, hey, I've got 3 hearts, and at the time Laoria was at least on green mail, so not a bad idea to just kind of say, you know what, I'm out of here. Let's go find out stuff for now.
Yeah, Amarith, so choosing to try the back despite having virtually no weaponry, a bow is only going to do so much.
And unfortunately, Amarith actually has burned through all of her arrows as well.
Just pick up a 5 back.
There. Yeah.
But still unfortunate. Oh, hardhat beetles are not a fun sight on the pyramid here. And just some more arrows on the ledge. Not even gonna bother.
Oh, right. So pyramid's not gonna help us, duh, because goal will be written at Hyrule Castle. So we've got no idea.
Nope, and just some bombs and blind cell for Amarith.
So yeah, so the idea that we should ditch Thieves Town for Pod. Unfortunately, for Amarith's side of things, Amarith has to go back up into Skull Woods. Our hammer was in Skull Woods.
Yeah, which is quite unfortunate. Amarith did a couple early checks and then bailed. I think the bug net might have been in there too, which not super helpful, but not the most useless thing at least. And Amarith, is just gonna have to death warp out of here because has absolutely no weaponry for blind right now.
Yeah, so what Amarith pretty much did was she grinded out bombs in Skull Woods, which is a very smart early Skull Woods play. But rather than kind of proceeding through the rest of the dungeon, she saved and quit and went straight to Hype Cave. So had missed kind of the other checks available at the time.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Laoria finding just some blue rupee on the catfish. And Amarith is back to Skull Woods. Yeah. Not a lot else Amarith can do at the moment, as it were, anyway. Really needs that hammer.
Yeah. In terms of the idea of going to check Ice Palace, I don't disagree with doing a splash deletion or, some kind of other method to get in there. But at this point, I think let's stick to maybe just drop it into Pod, see if we can find some good equipment there first.
Hey, fair point from Vortex of Doom. That's actually with how there's a decent chance the sword Shishida is looking decently likely to possibly sword. Let's just go to Ice Palace to see if there's a Bombus medallion on the floor, because we do not have a current, because that would be an indication of it being a swordless seat. To have specific places to use the medallions. After Pod, though. Pod is the smart play here. You have the hammer, have the bow, can do a decent number of checks in the front.
Yeah, the big question here is how comfortable are our runners with dark rooms and no real visual cue? A lot of runners, the first way you start to learn dark rooms is, hey, I've got a sword and I hold it out to kind of guide me a little bit. In this case, how good are they without that little sparkle in front of them?
Yeah, and also Endomizer too, if you can't see what enemy you're dealing with, can be more challenging.
Yeah, so some of the between Dark Rooms, Endomizer, and no sword yet, we might not see... Oh!
Never mind, that's the Moon Pearl. That's the Moon Pearl.
And it's gone. So that's a huge moment in this kind of race. Getting out of Dark World in an inverted seed is, I don't want to call it easy mode, but definitely you get through the hardest portion. Now, the one thing that will make this a little more difficult, of course, is with the Enemizer, it's not like you're guaranteeing yourself to get away from all the bad enemies. You know, that chomp that we saw right by that portal, those could be anywhere.
Yep. No, you cannot. And, Aga's up at the top of Darkness Mountain. They don't have any way up there right now.
Well, we do have that glove. We just logically shouldn't be up there.
Yeah, so with no lamp and Enemizer, it's not an appealing play, and you do still need a sword to get past the curtain, unless it's swordless, but you're not getting up there anyway.
Yeah, and we're still not going to get that kind of information to find out on the swordless yet. You know, we're waiting for that first indicator. You know, if we had a book, we're right near a Bombos tablet, and could check that. So there's a few.
Don't know if it's vanilla swords, or if it's just randomized swords being really trolly today, which it still could be. Nothing in the dam. Yeah, we also haven't seen any green 20s. We don't know yet what our current sword situation still could be an extremely trolly randomized sword. Could be a vanilla sword seed, could be swordless, we don't know yet.
But it looks like Laoria is going to check the desert ledge and then head back
Agina.
for... Yep.
And desert ledge is just some more money. Desert area enemies are fairly decent for the most part.
Yeah,
at
this
least.
isn't too bad. I think we're not going to see fake flippers today. Enemizer is a very dangerous kind of seed type to try to fake flipper yourself through the world.
Yep. Her piece with it.
Yeah, very much.
No health at all. That's a good idea to pick up right there. Blue Veil is swordless. Yeah, I can't blame Laoria for deciding that picking up the heart piece would be good here.
So is for that play to just, you know, let's find out what that item is. I don't know if she's gonna... Ooh, a bottle in Agina's cave. That's great before heading into Kakariko Village. Oh wait, we already had a bottle, didn't we?
No, that's our first. I think... Oh, no, Amarith found one, I can't remember where. According to our tracker.
So it looks like Amarith is still going to actually take a shot at blind.
Indeed. Found not much. I don't remember what she found in the boss keychain.
So this is a cool little trick. If you ruin blind script, you can actually re-rescue the maiden to restart the script.
Nice.
So I think we're getting that play.
Skullwood's big chest was something.
It was the bottle.
Yeah, I was wondering. Another map on K45. That is the Eastern Pat map. We have now seen the Hera and Eastern maps. Yeah, Laoria also wants to go to Cairo Castle, check the uncle and the goal soon, because we still need to know that. Perhaps wants to activate her flute first here. Nothing on race game. And Amarith having even more of a bad day in Thieves Town. I honestly would have probably come back later for this with a bit more health and perhaps somewhat better weaponry. 3-heart Blue Mail Hammer Blind is not a particularly appealing play. Back at the bar is junk.
Yeah, the mobility here of checking out all these kind of options, like you can pretty much full clear Kakariko Village, and you'll definitely want that flute activated sooner rather than later.
$50 on Sick Kid.
But Amarith is in that blind fight.
is in 3-shot range here. Oh, Chicken Hut is apparently Guard Hut instead. There's a couple guards and a couple skulls in it. And just some money.
Yeah, that hut can definitely be a lot scarier when you get into Enemizer. Amarith is using some pause buffer strats to try to weave around blind right now, but unfortunately,
No.
yeah, really, really great effort. Just couldn't get through at the end.
Nope. And it's decided, yeah, it's finally decided it's probably a better idea to come back. There, nope. Really wants to get Thieves Town done. A little surprised that Amarith pushing Thieves Town as hard as she has today. On very minimal equipment.
Yeah, especially given how much we can do in pod, you know, that I feel like that would be screaming out, but...
Right. Instead, Amarith has decided to try and clear pod as hard as she can, even though it's not getting her much of an interest. You see a book in the well for Laoria.
So that's Desert Palace access. One thing to really keep in mind whenever we see Inverted is the only way you can actually get into Desert is with that book.
Yes, and with a glove, who knows how clearable Desert is, depending on the key layout. As Laoria heads for Blind Hut now, yeah, Amarith is pushing Thieves down as hard as she is. Oh, another death. It just feels unfortunate. Bombos. And a compass. And Amarith has finally decided that it's not worth digging out Thieves Town anymore. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why Amarith was sticking with 3-heart hammer blind for as long as she did. She also went to the back without even a hammer. Just a bow and a glove, effectively, were her only equipment her first time to the back. And that took her at least 2 or 3 tries. But hopefully she'll finally get to her Moon Pearl soon. Last Woods here for Laoria. Has the book so we can check Ped, if she so chooses. There's our red shield. Not gonna bother.
I don't know. I think I would pick up a red shield this early. You know, you don't know what kind of situation you're gonna have to deal with for blind later, possibly. So, interesting choice.
And Ped is Vanilla Sword.
Yeah, this is looking like a Vanilla Sword seed for sure. With that.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, it could just be a really dumb random sword, but the odds are that's a Vanilla Sword. They've got Vanilla Swords today. No wonder we haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to beeline for Uncle. You want to check your goal, and you want to get that first sword off of him.
Absolutely, because that just totally Laoria. Yeah, she needs to get it. Also, here is the Gaddis Tower map, one of the most useless maps in the game. Laoria is going to finish clearing out the area, though. Check the shroom spot before she heads for Uncle, maybe? Oh, if you check the shroom spot, also a shield. So she's just going to walk out. We'll see where she goes next.
I would think this might be a Sanctuary and Graveyard Ledge check real quick.
Sanctuary, Graveyard Ledge...
Back to Escape. Yeah. I think those are your 3 plays over this way. Really easy to kind of route them in now instead of later. Yeah, so we are going to get the Graveyard Ledge first, and then probably drop down into the back of Escape, come out in Sanctuary, and check that chest. So we're going to get 5 checks from Laoria here real quick. But yeah, when you're playing a Mystery Seed, you know, the name of the game is really information. You know, how quickly can I determine my goal? How quickly can I figure out what the other settings are? So in this case, you know, we figured out that we had a vanilla sword on the pedestal. Oh my god, back of escape.
Oh my goodness, this looks terrible. Jeez.
Oh boy.
Crystal rollers everywhere. Gee, that's a scare and junk. Okay, that's a terrifying bad. I'm awake now. Low, awesome sauce. Yeah, there's a pokey, there's a chain chomp, there's an anti-fairy. Yikes.
Wow, that was brutal. But yeah, you want to find out that info. So, you check your vanilla sword locations and just kind of say, does it matter? Should I go there? Should I be playing this as vanilla swords? And
Ped
what's my
also
goal?
could tell you it's a Ped seed, but it looks like Laoria is going to head for Hyrule Castle now. Get her sword, check the goal. Oh, hopefully get her sword. We don't know for sure if it is.
Let's hope that this is a vanilla sword seed. That first sword will make a huge difference.
Yeah, Anonymizer, you really want a sword. Early bow and hammer help, but you still really would like a sword to deal with enemies.
Yeah, and one of the big things here is, how convenient are those crystals going to be for that Pyramid Fairy, which we're getting that check.
Ice and Skull Woods, not too bad actually.
Not at all. So
they're a fire. They can actually do Ice Palace with the Almost Medallion potentially. Fire Rod would give you Skull Woods. That's not too terrible. Amarith, in the meantime, is doing the Bowlock side of Pod. Oh, check usually Bowlock with Atomizer, not so much.
And I don't disagree with this play. We can technically do everything here.
Yep, vanilla swords.
Yep, vanilla swords, definitely. A BMOS on a moving floor. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez. Ivor and 2 giant spike traps.
Oh god, this is. I'm going to personally apologize to our runners because I actually rolled this seed for them on a personal request, and oh no.
This Atomizer is terrible. Jeez. The back of escape gave me a scare. That room right there was really just as bad. 2 giant spike traps, and there was a Lagor to go with it. Yikes. Rock and Crabs here is fine, at least.
Ooh, we've got a fast Ganon, but it's 6 crystals for GT and 6 crystals for Ganon?
Yeah, 6-6.
6-6 fast. So we're probably not gonna we're not gonna see GT today. At this point.
6 fast Ganon inverted is certainly something. Not sure what that something is, but we have 6-6 fast Ganon inverted, which is at least a lot nicer than the last inverted seed I commentated. Heart piece. And Amarith is going to open the other chest before trying to open this one between 2 giant spike traps. Because, I'm not sure if that... Okay, manages to get it, because this requires some careful timing to not get hit by these. With this dismal, enemy layout. This game is looking a lot nicer, though, at least.
I'm very artful dodging there to get through and to get over to this side, to check out the arena. But yeah, still not. Oh, that is just...
Ooh.
Yeah, there's just tons of enemies. At this point, Amarith has made better dents into these dungeons, but, there's definitely an info gap kind of building.
Yeah, info gap, and also Amarith has died so many times that has done far less in the same 33 minutes as Laoria finds the lamp in Zelda Cell. That's a good find. Gonna make life a lot easier.
Yeah, we got the NMG vanilla lamp.
Yeah. Good find there. Don't need to worry about trying to get. Don't need to worry about trying to get over there. Get to dark rooms. With just fighter sword and enemizer, it's not much fun. It's at least has a fighter sword, but still not fun. Oh gee, Stalfo's basement has got Stalfo's and light to go with it. Jeez. Not super nice. Still Stalfo's basement, just with some extra stuff in it.
And it looks like Laoria is going to check out Eastern Sahasrahla in the Eastern area. This is a great play. You know, we can fully clear Eastern Palace based on our equipment. That lamp, bow, means that's fully in logic to clear. And we're also going to get information about what our green pendant is today.
Sure. Green pendant in pod. Alright. Good info for Laoria. Unfortunate for Amarith here, though. Heart container, red meringue, and a heart container. Okay, that's gonna make life even easier for Laoria. Couple heart containers is gonna make a decent dent in the amount of. Gonna make enemies a fair bit easier to deal with now that she has a decent bit more health. And red meringue isn't completely useless, at least. So, okay, thief, giant spike trap, small spike trap, and an anti-fairy. That's not a nice sight. And red rupee and harmless Helly. Yeah, no hammer yum today. It's depending on how Enemizer is, it's either difficult or impossible.
Yeah, I'd say with that anti-fairy and the thief on the bridge, it's not the worst setup required. There's definitely worse enemies to be there, but yeah, still not very easy. But in a non-key sanity seed like this, I think, whoa, half magic. But yeah, in a non-key sanity seed, I personally don't see the major benefit. There's definitely some situations where you can get a lot out of doing a hammer yump there, but I feel it's a little less required of a skill. Yeah,
with non-key sanity and enemizer, it's just probably better to just go through the vanilla way. Unfortunately, Amarith has decided to call it quits on pod at the moment, and I think this will finally be Light World access.
And I think that's a good play, hitting a dark room and realizing, wait a minute, instead of our fire spout and dinosaur buddies, we instead have some fire bars and who knows what else.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Good idea. Come back with some more health and preferably a lamp.
So it does look like Amarith's actually going to do the same, at least basic Light World start. Instead of going straight for Hyrule Castle, we're actually going to also see a trip down to the dam and maybe, unsure to say whether this will be a trip over to the desert area or to Mini Moldorm Cave.
It's map compass shuffle, Jocelyn sauce. That's it's inverted 6/6 fast gain MC shuffle is the settings. Enemizer are the settings today. Listing them all off is taking longer than it did for me yesterday, though it's at least simpler. Inverted cross keys enemizer was my commentary yesterday. Just its own variety of fun.
I would love one of those. Those are great setups. Nice long seed.
Yeah, 2-4, still took 2 hours. If it had been 7 crystal again, I'm not sure it could have sub 3. Yeah, fast gain just means no Aga2. That is correct, Cypher. We have Enemizer, not Bossmizer, I should know. Our bosses are vanilla.
So on Amarith's side, we're actually going to get to see the Mini Moldorm Cave.
Ooh, Flippers in Eastern Big Key Chest.
Well, that does mean Ice Palace is clearable at this point. The only question, would Laoria want to go in there without the Cane of Samaria? But it is possible at this point.
Yes, as we see a Quake medallion for Amarith in Mini Moldorm Cave. That was also the only thing in there.
And here's a very smart use of that, having that sword, having that Bombos medallion and half magic. Let's just let the world burn.
Yeah, get rid of everything, get the key, and get out of here. I don't think any of the enemies are super difficult to deal with, it's just annoying as, oh boy, more crystal rollers for Amarith.
Yeah, the one thing you kind of want to, dark rooms are just especially rude in an Enemizer seed, just because you can't really see what's coming your way. So having that use of the Bombos medallion definitely is making life better. And we might see it even in the next room as well, because there are 8 enemies in the final room before Armos.
Yeah. Normally it's just some levers and a couple Igors. Nothing too terrible, but who knows what those turn into. Not too bad, actually. Berries, Stalfos, couple shadows, and I'm not sure what those things are called. At any rate, Bombos will take care of it. Yeah, mitts are pretty useless and inverted.
Yeah, what we're really looking for is the ultimate tool for an inverted seed becomes our mirror.
Absolutely. Alright, Red Rupee and our first crystal on the east on Armos Nights at just under 40 minutes here for Laoria. Yeah, Grey Corvid, we do not have Boss Miser. We have Enemizer, but not Boss Miser. There is we have our regular bosses. Can confirm because we had to blow up the ceiling for blind.
Yeah, we were able to rescue the maiden out of her cell for Thieves Town. So when both of our runners checked out Thieves, they did check that room just to see, hey, is this a boss shuffle, and didn't find a boss. So, if you're ever in a boss or an Enemizer seed and kind of want to figure out, hey, is this also boss shuffle? Thieves Town's your best bet to find out quickly.
Yes, unless you've gotten yourself entrance random to go with it, and then good luck.
Yes.
My inverted cross keys commentary seed yesterday, we never did see Thieves Town, actually. Oh, Ice Run on Lake Hylia Island.
I think our runners might be hoping not to have to deal with that. My guess is, though, Laoria will grab that ice rod on her way back from the hobo.
No reason to leave it behind.
Exactly. This is one of those changes that we're going to have for inverted. All these kind of weird spots that don't have a natural way into anymore. There are changes to allow you into them.
Yep. Amarith in the well now is going to pick up a book, which is desert access. We don't know if it's completable. Zora era enemies looking not too terrible today, actually.
Yeah, Lake Hylia has not been too bad.
Big Monkey, this is 6-6, inverted fast cannon, Enemizer, MC Shuffle is what it is.
And Vanilla Swords.
Oh, Vanilla Swords is the other one, forgot.
Unless we've been hit by 2 very trolly or 2 swords at vanilla locations, yeah, we're looking at Vanilla Swords.
Zora area news continuing to be fairly reasonable. Nothing on the Zora ledge, just a couple bombs.
And with over 1,500 rupees, we're likely to get scammed, but not the worst.
Who cares?
At this point.
Uncle does hold the sword in Vanilla Swords. Laoria picked one up off Uncle and read the pad to verify that it was also a Vanilla Sword, so we're pretty certain it's vanilla.
I think Karma's point is, would you be able to see the sword? And I don't think that's the case in Vanilla Swords for the randomizer. It's different from, a standard start.
Yeah. And yeah, the fact that the swords are around kind of non-call, unless randomized decide to be absolutely ridiculous with randomized swords. Nah. Actually, I know we've seen a Hera map. I think Laoria's the one who's gotten it, but we haven't seen a map for that yet, to my knowledge. There's the Hyrule Castle map. That's our other useless map. We've seen both the Hyrule Castle and Ganon's Tower map, two which are of absolutely no importance whatsoever.
And
Laoria,
yeah, going
trying
back
blind, which is not a bad idea, has enough equipment that it's not actually a terrible play. It's still going to be tough, but it's actually it's a lot more manageable than Amarith tried earlier.
Yeah, Laoria does have to rescue the maiden, however. She did not venture into the back after she had confirmed it wasn't boss shuffle. She very quickly left Thieves Town.
Yeah, didn't want to deal with Hellway and all the other nasty stuff in the back with Enemizer. Which is a rather understandable choice to make.
So at this point, both of our runners are kind of tracing over each other's steps, trying to just, see what we can find out, clearing up some checks. Still a lot to find out. We don't have really much info on our crystals. We do know 3 of them, at least so far. We are waiting to find out, where the rest of them are. And we do know one of our pendants with that green pendant at pot.
Yep. Just your mostly your standard information. We don't also we have seen the Hera map, but we have not seen a map check to verify what Hera is. And that's enough for Laoria.
Yeah, this is a very rough Enemizer. None of these enemy placements have been very forgiving. And a reminder, we are, towards the end of week 5 for Mystery Week, but in just under 2 weeks, we're actually getting co-op Enemizer as part of the league. So if you enjoy Enemizer, make sure, to check out those races as well, because we will be getting a lot more Enemizer before the end of this regular season.
Absolutely. Amarith choosing to back up the red shield. If you enjoy Enemizer, seek help, I implore you. Lol. Yeah, surprise Beamos. At least it's not, I do wonder, because you can't, oh, another death for Laoria. Yeah, Enemizer is can be kind of nasty. Inverted isn't.
Yeah,
Inverted randomized vanilla swords aren't helping here today either, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, when you get an Enemizer seed, it really is almost a luck of the draw here. Sometimes you get the worst enemy placement possible, and other times it's not too bad. This is definitely one of the worst case scenarios so far in terms of our runners.
Yes, indeed. Looks like Laoria is hitting a Dark Death Mountain now. Lumberjack check for Amarith.
Oh no, was that a mirror?
I was just gonna say that looks kind of like a mirror on Lumberjack. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that is a lot of info, and unfortunately, Laoria didn't check that one.
No, Laoria did not go through Lumberjack during her trip through Lost Woods.
So the reason why this is so important now is, we usually talk about mirrors being the one required item, or one of the most important required items for Swamp Palace. It still is an inverted, But the mirror does have added value in inverted, where this could be your way into TR in a sense, because Turtle Rock now, you can actually mirror onto Laser Bridge, and sometimes the key layout for Laser or for TR will actually require you to do mirror onto Laser Bridge or other locations. So this is huge info.
Absolutely, and that is hard boots locked too. So we'll need to find boots somewhere with 6 inverted. I'm not sure if it's hard required. I'm not as familiar with inverted, and the only other time I commentated it was inverted cross keys, which has not exactly great for learning inverted.
Yeah, it is correct. Mirror would give us that second sword that blacksmith sword right next to the library. In inverted, the bushes are actually kind of cut down, and you can reach Jeremiah through that method, and then bring him back over to the smith.
Yes, as Amarith also gives a try at surviving the crystal rollers in Back of Escape and doesn't have any better luck than Laoria did.
But
Those
rather
crystal
than doing a
rollers
save and
suck.
quit, Amarith is actually going to take another shot at this with full health.
And message is it nice.
And I don't think Laoria came back for this check, so this is actually, I believe, a new piece of information for us.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we need Fire Rod, Mid's Cape, or 3 pendants to get into Aga 1. Yeah?
No, we do not.
No.
So
No, because the tower entrance is just
yeah,
open.
the tower entrance does not have the electric bat in front of it that you need to be able to slash or walk by.
Yeah, no, you can just go right past, and as we saw there from Laoria.
Sorry, no, I see what your point is. Yes, we would. For another sword, we do need that.
Yeah.
But not for Aga 1.
Yep.
Yes, for a second sword in this seed, we definitely will need a fire rod, or an assortment of other things. So
fire rod to clear Skull Woods. We can and help with Ice Palace for our Pyramid Fairy. Emits to get the Smiths, since we've got no mirror. Or just the because we need to take up a pair of Repentance, yes, the other ones. Yep, Hera and Eastern Crystals. Finally getting a map check for that. We've had a Hera map for a while, just no one did it.
Yeah, we did see that Tower of Hera is one of our one of those crystals for this one.
Boost Meyer, good thing because we already have that. We also know where Quake is.
Unfortunately, we can't actually do anything in Meyer yet. No hookshot, no boots means we can't bonk across. Although Laoria did find the cane of Samaria in Meyer Shed, so that's, you know, when we finally do have that hookshot, we've got the ability to go in and clear that dungeon. And with arrows, you know, a bow, even with just a fighter sword, it's not a terrible fight.
It's not. In the meantime, though, this looks like potentially an Ice Palace play from Laorius. Yeah, because Cade makes it much more appealing.
Yeah, this is a great play, you know. Laoria will have to be careful from the standpoint of, you know, only has a fighter sword for against Cold Stare, and will definitely not be finding a better weapon in here. But this is a full clearable dungeon, and you know it's a 5/6.
Yes, it is, and this is halfway to one of your other swords, which would be quite nice to have.
I'm sure, you know, the hope is, hey, maybe we find a fire rod in here, and possibly, you know, with fire rod, that Cold Stare fight definitely is a lot less intimidating. The one thing we kind of don't discuss with Enemizer here is it's very possible, I've seen this a few times in Enemizer seeds, that the Icebreaker room actually has a Wallmaster in it.
Yes, indeed, and that would make the life a lot more difficult to do an Icebreaker. magic is helping Laoria, though, at least being able to use Bombo Spore to clear out some of the enemies.
Yeah, definitely a lot safer, although it will not help with this room. Instead of seeing a bunch of new enemies, we have a bunch of invincible fireballs.
Yes, we do. Nice icebreaker here. And just a key. Amarith is about to get her lamp soon here.
Oh no!
Oh.
So yeah, that's the great worry when you run into these Enemizer seeds. You know, did something get placed in a room? And Wallmasters in Ice Palace are definitely one of the true evil enemies to find.
Absolutely, and you don't know when you don't know they're there until they drop in. At the start.
Yeah, and this is one of the dungeons that is longer just from a base navigation standpoint. But Laoria's gonna head right back in. I don't fault the decision. But down to half a heart already, and we've still got a long way to go until even finding some ways to heal up a little bit. And Laoria is going to take this very, very methodical approach here. Let's get that Wallmaster to fall. Let's make sure that's a great reason to go to Ice Palace. Some boots. So that does give us at least one piece in case we need to make this Aga play.
Yes, indeed. Very nice find.
Unfortunately, Laoria does not have any way to get across the spikes here.
No.
And
no
is
hook
very
shot.
frantic. Yep. But
no hook shot, no cape, no Burma.
I think the smart decision here, maybe we see a play over to Desert Palace. Desert's full clearable now.
Yep. Laoria is still unfortunately missing crucial information about where her mirror is. But hopefully she would go to check that when she checks Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, with that Bonk Rocks check, hopefully that kind of crosses her mind like, hey, I know that it's a 6/6 fast. There's not a lot that can be on the Lumberjack, but I should take that time to just, run up there real quick. It's the closest you're going to get the rest of this seed.
Yeah, because otherwise we're not going back to that bit of the map.
And interestingly, Amarith's actually going to take a quick dive right into Aga Tower, saying, you know what? I know my mirror's here. I might as well just do this.
Terrible play. It's going to be risky. Oh, there's a convenient blue potion bottle, actually. Health refill and a magic refill for Laoria. Can't complain. But, I guess Amarith really wants that mirror. And can do this. A little tricky, but does have lamp now, and a sword, hammer, bow.
Yeah, the only problem, I think on both of these plays, Vortex, you're covering kind of what I would say as well about the play on using that potion is it's really early and we still got a long way to go, especially given magic's not the premium here. Health is, and we're definitely going to be more worried about the health situation. And for Amarith's side, it's nice to have the information that the mirror is there and there's a good chance we'll need it later in this seed. But without the boots so far, it's just info to go full dive on this move.
And Meyershed's Mario is a little trolly if you want to get back. If you would rather have that for Icebreaker too. No hookshot, no boots. Meyer is something you don't even know if you can get into. There's the boss key of Ice Palace.
And since Laoria did not hit the switch, she did need that to get downstairs. But I think the only item we have left is a small key on Cold Stairs, so this dungeon was technically Samaria locked. Unless I missed a room. And we didn't get actually all the small keys out of here, but I think we did. Or we did.
I think so as well.
Oh yeah, we did get 3 items. We got a... Oh wait, sorry. Item counts don't matter because there are 2 extra items in every dungeon now.
Yes, because we have Map Puppet Shuffle. And your cold stare time. Starting with doing a fighter sword spin and then switching to hammer.
Nice start getting that triple hit with the hammer. Now, an important thing to remember about this fight is, it's actually can be a really smart idea. Instead of dancing around the room with your puffs, instead stick to that ceiling. Along the ceiling, the puff actually doesn't break. And unfortunately, yeah.
Ooh. And Laoria has decided it's probably going to come back later. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, and I'm sure she's a little frustrated with that one. It's been a rough start here. I'm sure for both of our runners, this is, it's not a fun feeling to go into these dungeons and clear quite a bit just to have these boss deaths and being unable to finish them.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Amarith is getting some time back with these deaths. Amarith having taken several of her own unfortunate deaths, having spent quite a good chunk of the first 30 minutes of the siege just trying to get 13 Thieves Town and having no real luck. I didn't pod for Laoria, interestingly.
Yeah, the curiouser thing, as Karma and Vortex are pointing out, is we have boots, and Leo's not running.
Nope.
I mean, I think there are reasons not to run sometimes in an atomizer, just because you don't want to get caught off guard by an enemy. But when you got those straightaways, you really want to kind of focus on them. And we are seeing some of the quirks of your Enemizer seeds here. As you notice, those Octoroks are taking a couple extra sword slashes to get through. This is a quirk of Enemizer, where some light or dark world enemies, when placed in the opposite world, will actually take on the properties of their cousin. Their dark world cousins or light world cousins. For example, rats and grasshoppers, your bats and murderdactyls, or is that crows and murderdactyls? And then, of course, here you get those Octoroks.
Yeah, and it takes sort of just a couple of hits. Unfortunately, Laoria has already gotten them in from pod and is now heading over here. We know there's not much else in here. Amarith tried this earlier and found a lot of nothing, though didn't manage to get to the dark very well, and gave up at that point.
Yeah, I think this is, I've done a lot of practice races with Laoria, and one of the I don't want to say it's a joke, but one of the running things is Laoria does like to gamble on Pendant Pod. So there's a chance that there's something back here, and definitely a place that she will run to, given the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, we have seen most of this already, but we have not seen a dark maze. I don't believe we haven't seen a big chest, and we haven't seen Helma, so 4 checks left. I'm not sure how many keys were.
Well, and we also
saw the
have
boss keys.
that green pendant's not a terrible find, either. We got an extra item off of that, so there is a little extra added value to finishing our pendant pod in this case.
There it is. Taking a purposeful death warp in the basement. Stalfo's basement has a little bit more than just Stalfo's today. And Amarith is doing easy. Reno has not much.
It did have those flippers and that half magic, so definitely some nice finds for this point in the race.
Oh, I lost track a little. Yeah, flippers may or may not be required, depending on how Swamp is. You might want those, and we definitely half magic is a very nice find.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question here is, how much do we need our mirror? We don't know the situation with pendant crystal status for Swamp Palace, and that's half of our question. And then the other half is, how does the TR layout work out for us today? And is that also a crystal or pendant? Those are the two dungeons that really kind of will decide the necessity of clearing or of killing Aga and going eventually for the that mirror. And what we do actually know is there are three things we will find in the dark maze, because we did find all the keys before going into the dark maze.
Oh, definitely Laoria.
And she's gonna head right back in there to kind of let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
No, this is a normal item pool. We know that because of the fact that we found a male upgrade on and a male upgrade already tells us it's not hard item pool. And expert is actually expert is possible, but it's a very low percentage as well. So, but we do know it is not either of those, just based on that male upgrade.
Yeah. Alright, dark maze, big chest is jug, lower chest is a heart piece.
But it looks like besides those fire bars, this actually wasn't the worst dark maze. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a thing. Hookshot in the pause maze.
And very much a validation for Laoria there. As I was saying, one of her favorite checks is Pendant Pod, and once again, paying off for Laoria with the hookshot.
Yeah.
And she is going to pay off that immediately with Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah.
And, that's a lot of info we can get.
Here's the thing, too. Amarith is not getting that. She already did like everything but the dark maze of Pendant Pod earlier. She does it as Pendant. She doesn't want to go back there.
Yeah, and Laoria did skip out on the rest of Pendant Pod. We still knew that there were at least 2 items in there, one on Helmasaur and one on Green Pendant, but saying, I got what I wanted.
Yeah. Doesn't want to sink the time into doing the remaining Helmasaur for that and one other check.
Yeah, and really for Laoria, there's only a couple items left that really are required to finish this seed, possibly. We need the fire rod still, but in terms of like a go mode set of items, we have most of them at this point, and it just comes down to that little bit of extra info. Hey, where are my 6 crystals?
Yeah. She will clear Hera here while she's up. She knows it. Pretty sure she knows it's a crystal and it's a quick one too.
Yeah, and with the hook shot, I think that's part of the reason why she also came over here really quick and the Titan's mitts. Okay, so, all these checks are starting to pay huge dividends for Laoria.
Absolutely. That's not nearly as useful inverted, but we'll actually get her the Sword Off Smiths, which is going to be nice.
Yeah, and, mitts are kind of underrated in this mode, I would say. There is definitely a routing advantage to the mitts. So, for example, Laoria could flute to the mire area and then use the stone to get into the desert area without having to route through Light World. There's little pieces here that are, very helpful just because you have found your Titan's mitts. It's not required for most of your seed. It's just ease of access.
Absolutely.
And yes, of course, everybody's pointing out definitely, that those mitts do give us the Master Sword off of Blacksmith. So, if this mirror is not required for the seed, we at least know that Laoria can get the required sword to finish. And this is a basement big key, but of course we're going to see Harapot. So Laoria is using the bomb setup, uses that single bonk off of one of your crystal blocks, and then is just trying to find the right position for that. Move up a little bit.
And gets it.
Yep, nice first attempt there. I'm personally a fan of the spin speed setup for that, but that one also works really nicely. You want to kind of have both in your arsenal. But
Laoria. Whoopsies.
But it doesn't matter. Oh wait, sorry, it does still.
That's the thing, is it's MC Shuffle. That's an item.
Shuffle is really, going to be the hard part here. Is I wouldn't be surprised if Laoria says, I don't need to check that last item in the big chest, and just says, I got my crystal, let's be done with the dungeon. So I anticipate we're going to see that kind of just be forgotten about.
Also, one Sienna. That is a 8-eyed Moldorm. Oh boy. I am really not a particular fan of how Moldorm looks in Enemizer. It's kind of crazy out that there's this many eyes on it.
I like that. Sunflower Dorm. I have not heard that one. Thank you, Irritable Penguin, for that.
Yeah, good luck sneaking up on an 8-eyed Moldorm. You're not wrong. Laoria's second crystal is now 12 here.
Yes, given that we're just over an hour, a little more than an hour into this race, just want to remind everybody, what was that comment on the...
Wait, now you know where the boss is? I believe that's a compass?
Yes, that will be a compass, and we do get a map on Spec Rock. But yeah, as I was saying, be sure to give our runners a follow. Laoria and Amarith, they are putting on a great show tonight with a really tough mode. So, make sure to give them a follow, just as thanks for all that's going in. And of course, in terms of the team tonight, my co-commentator Star1468, our tracker is Ivy Karma, and restreamer is Oro.
Yep.
And we are getting a Mimic Cave check here from Laoria. Unfortunately, we do have to kind of do 2 trips up the mountain to get in to check these, both this and Spiral Cave.
Yep. Amarith, in the meantime, has managed to find a small key in desert. Oh, Fire Rod! Fire Rod for Amarith in the Desert Compass chest. Good find. Heart piece. Which I think means it's a...
Yeah, I think this is no mode at this point. We have a way to clear all the dungeons. 6 crystals no matter what. I think the only situation that could still require or still put us not in no mode is if the big key to TR is on Laser Bridge and Swamp Palace and TR are both crystals. I think that's the only situation that leaves us not in a no mode situation or a go mode situation.
We can get to TR with Mirror.
Sorry. Yeah, it is. We do know. You're right.
Yeah, we're in no mode. They are not. Neither of them are in go mode, but we are in no mode. That was a Crystal Thieves down, by the way, there for Laoria.
So that is 5 crystals that we know about, and it's very possible that Desert Palace is a crystal. So that's 6 crystals in a fast cannon. So we could be very much in go right now. Even for Laoria, you know, if her next stop is Desert Palace, she'll get that Fire Rod, and that screams, you know, Ice Palace, Skullwoods. And
well, she's done most of Ice, but she can go back.
Yeah, and that Fire Rod will definitely make Ice Palace a lot more of a tempting return. Especially knowing that also gives us one of our 5/6, and if you want to have Tempered Sword, not let alone Master Sword, not a bad idea to kind of do those too.
Absolutely, because currently we are looking. You would want all 3 swords since we have not seen silvers. And we know the capability to get both Master and Tempered. I'd probably pick those up, considering Master Sword Silver less Ganon. If you have the option, I'd probably get Tempered.
Yeah,
because Master Silver less Ganon is a tough call.
So Laoria is prioritizing that sword right now, saying, "Let's go get it. Let's just." The mirror is on Lumberjack Ledge, so
yeah.
Laoria did not check that.
No. Hopefully we'll check it soon, though. Maybe get Bonk Rocks after dropping off the smith to get her Master Sword, I hope.
I don't think we're going to see it, because I think at this point, I gotta believe Laoria's thought process is going to be dungeons.
Likely, which would be a bit unfortunate for her.
I think, given that we don't know, or at least she's in a situation to clear a lot of dungeons, I don't blame her for kind of rushing it.
It does make sense. Yeah.
I believe
Quake is Mini Moldorm Cave.
Oh yeah, Mini Moldorm. I was about to say Back to Thieves, but no, you're right. It was in Mini Moldorm.
And okay, Laoria is heading in that direction. Hooray! This should be, yep. She will see that where her mirror is, and maybe check Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb right after this.
Doing a bit of a double take and walking down just to make sure. Yeah, that is the mirror. I am not seeing things.
Now, given the extra information that Laoria does have, I think it's going to be prudent for her side to kind of, let's say, hey, I can clear dungeons. Maybe I don't worry about Mirror and Aga yet. I can go get it, but let's focus on what I can do, and maybe I can put myself in go mode another way, especially given she has the info of what 5 of her crystals are, having cleared Eastern and Hera, knowing that Swamp, Thieves, and Ice are crystals. I think rushing over to Desert, find out if that's a crystal, knowing if you even need to go clear Aga,
absolutely. Yeah, because the crystals she know of are also fairly easy to clear. Well, once she picks up her fire rod, Skull Woods will be a good play. Thieves Town is going to be fairly quick. The Ice Palace won't be too bad either. Yeah, unfortunately for Amarith, that hookshot's going to be hard required, which is... Oh, on.
So Laoria is heading back into Thieves Town, saying, here's a dungeon, let's clear it, let's get that third crystal. But yeah, this really is going to come down to, will Laoria go down to Desert Palace, find out if that is one of my crystals, and, can I put myself into go mode without needing to clear Aga 1?
Yep, our hookshot is in the Pod's Dark Maze. Boots are in Ice Palace, the H room. Amarith opening Meyer while she's here. Has no hookshot, no boots, so has to flute away. And unfortunately, mitts are in Paradox Cave, but high in hookshot, so Amarith definitely needs to get back to Pod. Unfortunately, she's already done most of Pod, other than the Dark Maze and Helmasaur, so with that being a green pendant, it's not especially high on her list of priorities to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, hopefully that green pendant might have maybe tempts a little bit to say, hey, maybe come back here, but it's definitely not the top of the list.
No, I also do believe that Desert was boots blocked, so a little unfortunate for Amarith may have to return there depending on what the crystal layout is.
And Laoria does have to play this pretty safe going through Thieves Town. Just, we're not on a bit of a low health situation, and this dungeon has been pretty bad throughout.
Yeah.
Amarith, though, does catch a fairy, so that'll be a very appreciated extra safety for this blind free match.
Yep. Amarith spent a large portion of the early game trying to get to Thieves Town with virtually no equipment, died several times, and eventually gave up on it.
Yeah, there was a lot of great attempts on that 3-heart blind with a hammer, but not a very fun fight at all. Just, got close, but wasn't able to get the final. But with Fighter's Sword and that Fire Shield, makes excellent work of blind, and we find out it's a map to Skullwoods.
Not one you really want to see, considering it's a 5/6 crystal.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do have the info already on that one, so it's not really going to help us. While Laoria is coming into blind and will be going for that blind script. If you didn't know, blind is a very scripted boss. You can get this fight every time, and it looks like so far, yes, Laoria is going to stick to the script here. Excellent through 2 phases, and here comes that 3rd phase. Just falling off a little bit on the script, but still, if you keep to those first 2 phases on script, this fight is a lot easier and very maintainable for a runner of these runners level.
And that is Laoria's 3rd crystal.
So there's not a lot of difference in terms of the crystal numbers for our 2 runners. It's, this is just an information and item gap at this point that's really kind of separating where they both are.
Yes, it is. Laoria is going to do hammer pegs real quick while she's here. Boots making this a very quick check.
And I'm wondering if she might pick up that purple chest and turn that into, in before heading into Desert Palace at this point.
Would make sense. Desert's high on her list of things to do. It's accessible. A good chance of being a crystal, and it's a fast clear even if it's a pendant.
Yep, here we go. I'm assuming we're gonna flute to Meyer. Oh, nope. I would have thought the Meyer area would have been a little quicker, but
She wants to do purple chest on the way to Meyer Desert. I think this might be faster.
Yeah, but you pick up the stone there, and I would have thought that would put you a little closer to the turn-in. I'm not entirely sure which is faster, but I would have thought that would be a little faster than going to 4 to come in through this spot.
See, as CJ's saying in chat, it's like the same. All right.
Okay. I will try.
Fire Rod's in Desert. Yeah. And it really doesn't matter, though. A couple seconds, maybe, not much. But that is just a heart piece. Laoria is going to hit the desert now, I expect. Fire Rod is in desert as well. Quick Bomblo's tablet chat. We saw this from Amarith. I think this was bombs or something, Dad. Yes, it was. I vaguely remember seeing something about triple boom.
And on Amarith's side, nice takedown of the Moth. We did get some funny spike sprites. Atomizer does a lot of funny stuff to spikes in that room. You sometimes see half of a bomber enemy. In this case, we did see the crabs.
Yeah, Atomizer can definitely mess with sprites a bit. I remember seeing some floating uncle heads in another Atomizer seed. It was a little bit of a moment.
So Laoria is going to check out the right side and find that fire rod and put her into possibly go mode. We're not entirely sure. We're not 100% sure on that one, but it is appearing that this will be go mode.
If Desert is another crystal, then she is 100% in. Well, I think she will be in go mode any which way. So so Eastern and Hera are 2 crystals, Swamp Thieves and Ice are 3 more, so that's 5. And then between all are good that she can complete them.
Ice will give us 5. So it's really a question of, which of our I'm trying to think if there is a situation that this is not go mode at this point.
I don't believe so, because
the only situation is if we need mirror for TR and Swamp Palace.
And she can get mirror if she wants to, if she needs to.
Well, yeah. Oh wait, she does know as well that the mirror's there, so. But yeah, I think we see a desert clear, hope that, she's going to hope that it's her 4th crystal, and then can just go do ice and skull. If not, I expect to see we might see Meyer as kind of a next best play.
Meyer would not be a poor idea. Looking to see if that's a crystal, and then if not, well, probably time to go to pick it up the mirror.
Yeah, and I think for Amarith here coming into Ice Palace, we're going to see her... unfortunately that Wallmaster gets her as well as having gotten Laoria earlier.
Yeah, that's not a particularly nice Wallmaster. Laoria running into a load of Hinoxes and a reliever decides this is not worth dealing with. I'm just going to bomb boost a bunch and get out of here. Good idea. And a whole lot more Hinoxes, jeez.
Yeah, Lag City in that room. But we are coming up on our Lamolus fight, and we are going to find out, at least, what's a crystal, if this is a crystal or a pendant, and kind of set us a little bit closer to knowing what we need to do to finish. But with that Fire Rod, Laoria's setting up for Fire Rod shots. This will make quick work of the Landmolus fight. Just 2 Fire Rod shots per, and perfectly done. One very, very nice cycle. There's our 20 rupees, and A pendant.
Oh, that's a whammy a bit. Just a blue pendant. So now the question becomes, what is our last pendant? It is one of Skullwood's, Meyer, or TR, and then Laoria needs to complete one of the others to pick 2B and go on. Sad trombone, yeah. Wah, wah,
I think for
wah.
Laoria, she just realized, hey, I didn't check out Mini Moldworm Cave. Let's head over there and just, knock out some checks. This will give her the Quake Medallion, which she has been up by TR and does know that TR is Quake. So this could also send her back up to TR to maybe try that one as a crystal.
Yes, because she could perhaps do at least some of it from the front. Mini Moldworm Cave. Got a mini Moldworms and a mini Helmaslore, nothing too ridiculous.
Yeah, the big question for Laoria is, do you play under the assumption that you can clear Mire? You can clear Mire. Do you gamble that that's your last crystal or your 6th crystal at this point, or do you play for the mirror knowing that guarantees you Swamp NTR clears? What's the better option? What's quicker? What's safer? And I'm sure for both of our runners, they're gonna say, hey, I've had some deaths here that have been very costly. What's gonna help me? Like, do I need to save time and make a gamble to kind of save myself? And really, these two runners are familiar with each other's, have played each other in a lot of pickup games. So, I gotta feel Amarith might have done a lot of pod knowing that Laoria likes doing pendant pod. So, but, it was just deeper independent pod than we first thought.
Yeah, unfortunately. Hi, Lumaga. The vote today is 6-6 Inverted Fast Ganon Mech Compass Shuffle Randomizer with Vanilla Swords. That's quite the mouthful today, but that's our full mode. We are still not sure what our final crystal is at the moment. It is one of Swamp, Mire, or Turtle Rock will be Laoria's final crystal. And there's a mirror on Lumberjack is the problem.
Yeah, so right now we're kind of not sure. Do we need this mirror to finish this seed, or is there a way around it?
There is a 1 in 3 chance of Mire being a crystal after a 2 in 3 chance of Mire being a crystal after all, and so then it becomes a choice for Laoria. Does she take that gamble?
Unfortunately, the back of Skull Woods, and I kind of missed it when Amarith went through this earlier, is, there's a lot of enemies here that are just really getting in her way.
Deciding to just bombos the room again makes sense. Laoria in particular has been making extensive use of bombos to make life a bit easier.
Meanwhile, Amarith is going to take a shot at finishing up Ice Palace. Is this I think this is also going to be a fairy drop, yeah. So Amarith is going to get that refill. And she does have a bug net, so really smart heads up play here.
Oh, death for Laoria.
Yeah, and this is the really brutal part. Those spikes, you're not going to sneak by them. We don't have invincibility items to really help us.
Yeah, the lack of invincibility items has definitely been noticed by both runners. Not having Cape or Burma has not been very nice. Randomizer giving them some trouble. Blue equipment for quite a while, it wasn't helping. Can't even powder the anti-fairies because she doesn't have powder.
Yeah, and Amarith, I just realized, has prioritized these 5-6 crystals. Let's get Master Sword. We know there's a sword in the pyramid. Let me just go get it now while I can. And gets
Yeah.
the powder.
Ha! Okay, well that'll make life a tad easier. I was just talking about powdering empty fairy, so now Amarith can do that.
And Amarith actually does take a crystal lead here with that. 4 crystals for Amarith to 3 for Laoria. Unfortunately, well, at this point, it's this actually closer than it looks. Because Amarith can go get her mirror. Mirror does give her access to tower, or no, that doesn't give
No, she
Tower
needs
Hera access, unfortunately.
no,
So she does
because
need that hook.
she needs the hook shot. Yeah, Chess talking about this earlier, and as was I. And yeah, with inverted, you need that. You have to have
Yeah,
it's
hook
inverted.
or mitts,
Sniper.
unfortunately. So yeah, it's really going to come down to that hook shot.
And mitts, unfortunately, are in paradox, so not getting around hook shot today, unfortunately, for Amarith. And the 3 remaining checks in Pendant Pod cannot be high on Amarith's big to-do list, which is unfortunate.
Well, and the other option here is, Amarith could take a chance to clear TR and Meyer, and hope that those are 2 crystals. But still, that means that TR has to work out perfect. Oh, well, yeah, there's a chance that we don't need that hookshot or those mitts to be able to clear this seed. Amarith?
Depends on TR really, and that depends on TR being doable from the front and being a crystal.
Amarith did clear Aga 1, actually. Karma, can we get a track on the Aga 1 kill on Amarith's side?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Odd that it didn't show up then. Laoria is going for her 5th crystal here with the Ice Palace clear. She's much better equipped this time.
Love and Hearts has a fire rod, is gonna be able to do this with much more ease. And correct, the portal is in a dark world in Inverted, outside Link's house, instead of in a light world. Amarith is going to be checking bog products with this jug and getting her mirror here.
Yeah, and then she'll head back for the big bomb. Makes it a little bit easier to do big bomb when you have the mirror in this mode.
Vortex, we don't know for sure if mirror is required. It depends entirely on what our last pendant is. If Meyer is our last is a crystal, then Laoria doesn't need the mirror. Yes, it is 6-6. Laoria, although... Oh yeah, that's the thing though, is you can't do Big Bomb without mirror because of its being inverted is the thing.
The bomb does not follow after save and quit? I did not realize that one.
According to chat, it isn't, as Laoria picks up her 5th crystal and powder here off Cold Stare.
And here goes Amarith picking up the blacksmith.
Chat confirming doesn't follow after save quit. This is a minor play. We'll see how this goes, and whether or not this is a crystal or if it's going to be another whammy of a pendant. As Amarith picks up her Master Sword.
Yeah, Laoria's going for it. You know, saying, "Hey, I know I need 1 crystal at this point. I've got 5 with that ice clear. So if I can get my last crystal here, I don't have to do Aga. I don't have to do Swamp or TR. I am set."
Yeah, that would mean, as chat mentioned, that she would have to go get her mirror to not do Master Silverless. So that would still not be too bad. Takes a few extra minutes, but she was really hoping that this is her another crystal and not the final pennant.
Yeah,
and
maybe
Silver's
we get
could
lucky.
be in Meyer.
Yeah, I mean, we got lucky on that silver arrow find.
Yep. Shadow's trolling Laoria a bit. They're not super hard to kill, they're just annoying to catch sometimes.
Yeah, that room's definitely a lot slower than the NMG strats that we are used to seeing with just the Wizrobes and the normal enemies. But we are getting a hope for a Godmire coming up. And yes, Godmire never happens. Oh wait, there we go. There we
go. That's the boss.
Yeah, that's a great Mire layout for us. And with that powder, I expect Laoria will. Oh wait, sorry. No, there's a bunny beam onto those pots, but not going for the powder there. Just gonna continue thinking I've wasted a lot of time. You know, I don't want to risk that Amarith is, you know, ahead of me and I need to make up time. So we're playing for just to get that crystal.
Taking the chance that this is a 2 and 3 chance that this is crystal. And Laoria is hoping that this is indeed a crystal. Amarith, in the meantime, is doing some more overworld checks. This is going to be Big Bomb now.
Yeah, we're going to get Tempered Sword on Amarith's side.
And it is true, though, that she knows what her go mode is. It's on, it's the mirror.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think this is from, you know, at least on Laoria's side, I don't know how Amarith must feel right now about, you know, how the mode's been going, but I think there's a lot of feeling of, I took a lot of deaths early in this seed, so I'm going to gamble that I need to go here. You know, I need to hope that Mire's that last crystal. Can I avoid ever going after that mirror?
Yep, here's Tempered and Heart Container for Amarith and Pyramid Fairy. And Master Sword, regular arrows, Vidi for Laoria.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, set up for the NMG and takes a rough death there. You know, she really was setting up for those spins to kind of get a good setup on Vitreous, but just wasn't going to work out this time. And, you know, it's going to have to go back through Mire. Amarith, though, right behind her, coming into Misery Mire. And that Tempered Sword is going to make a huge difference in this fight.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Amarith still needs to go back to the back of Pendant Pod and get her hookshot out of there, which is going to take a while still.
Yeah, so the thing is that walking in the ooze is actually very much part of the NMG setup for Vitreous. You actually want to take a step into the ooze, take the damage there and then release the spin, so then you don't take contact damage from the eyes, which is actually that's the preferred method of how you should be doing that fight. But that's usually done when you're using a tempered sword, and but unfortunately, no tempered sword. It's still probably better. Yeah, and yes, it's definitely a very dangerous move. I think, yep, Amarith's gonna just go straight for it, see if, let's find out the info on Vitreous. And I expect to see a very similar move by Amarith in this case, using those tempered spins with damage boosts. But yeah, both of our runners, Laoria has 30 arrows, while Amarith does have 35, having used the Luck Fairy. I'm surprised, I think it would have been a prudent decision for Laoria to also consider the arrows. I wouldn't be surprised to see Amarith do some arrow strats in there as well.
Sure, these two runners nearly in sync here. Laoria just a slight bit ahead of Amarith going into Vidi. Although the big difference being that Amarith has tempered sword.
Ooh, very risky on that. I'm surprised Laoria is still sticking with the spins and not just going over to arrows at this point.
Could also chuck bombs. I have actually seen people do that.
I will agree with that strategy. I personally do enjoy a bomb usage when you're on a low sword, but have bow and enough bombs to kind of work through the fight. So, and yes, you're seeing the benefit of tempered sword there from Amarith, very quick through all those eyes, and that is our 6th crystal. So Laoria does have enough to go fight Ganon. She will be heading into that Ganon fight probably momentarily. Meanwhile, Amarith is not very far behind at 5 crystals, but without the hook shot, can't get into Hera, and also probably will not gamble Swamp Palace. TR could be quick, but it's a ways to go.
It is, and yeah, but true, this is Vanilla Swords. Amarith has the Pyramid Fairy Sword. Unfortunately, Mirror is on the Lumberjack. Actually, Laoria might be going for Aga to get that mirror to get a sword, because Master Sword Silverless is not an appealing idea. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this play is at this point.
Did
I misread the sign?
I could've... Yeah. I'm not sure either.
Because I swear I saw 6 crystal on the Ganon sign.
Yeah.
Unless, I misread that. She read both the signs. I'm not sure what's happening here.
I am going to go check the file and see what it is.
For Amarith, she can't get into Hera without the mitts or hookshot. But Laoria does have 6 crystals at this point, and we thought we saw 6 crystal fast. And Karma is confirming that on Laoria's own tracker, she has this listed as a 6/6. So I don't know. This is going to really possibly change the ending here.
Absolutely.
This really gives Amarith a huge chance here to come back.
Absolutely, because Heart Container and Heart Piece. At this point, if you're trying to, it would be faster to get the mirror and pick up a sword and the sword off Pyramid Fairy than it would be to try and dig up silvers from God knows where.
But luckily, you know, at least for Laoria, what helps is, you know, maybe this gives her time to kind of jog that memory and say, hey, you have enough. You can go in, you can fight Ganon. Don't go for this. But it does look like she is still heading back to Aga Tower, realizing, hey, I might need to do this, because thinking this is 7 crystals.
No, maybe it. Chat mentioned that she might be hoping for an invincibility. Might be hoping that the first couple quick checks in TR has silvers to make life easier. Because either Master Sword Silvers or Temper Sword Silverless would be a lot more of an appealing idea than Master Silverless. But unfortunately, no such luck for Silver Arrows, and she's gonna just get up here and get done with this.
Yeah, so this is a race at this point. This is going to come down to, does Amarith head back to Pod and pick up the, you know, go get her hook shot, or does Laoria realize that she's in go mode and is actually done and just needs to take down Ganon?
This is Vanilla Swords Aster. The problem is, she doesn't have a mirror to get the Pyramid Fairy one, and she no silvers either. She does not want to do Master Sword Silverless, which is an entirely understandable play. Also, it is to note also that the front of TR is key locked. You're gonna have to use the mirror to get anywhere in it today.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Amarith, you know, no opportunity to even do that without the hook shot to get over to there.
Yep. Aster, we need Aga to get a mirror off Lumberjack to get a sword off Pyramid Fairy, is what it is.
I don't think this is a question so much as to I'm pretty sure Laoria can handle a Master Sword Silverless Ganon, so I'm not sure. This is definitely a question that we're going to want to ask at the end of this race as to, you know, what was her thoughts here.
Yes, indeed. Choosing to make the play with no knowledge of where Amarith is, to make the play to go for that sword over trying Master Sword Silverless. It's not the most appealing of plays, and I can see why, but also you don't know where your opponent is. For all you know, your opponent took less deaths and is on Ganon right now.
Yeah, I agree with, you know, the assessment that Master Sword Silverless does take more time, but I feel like combining in Aga with getting the sword, if that's what this is about, I feel like that's more time than just going for the Master Sword Silverless.
Quite possibly, maybe not only taking the risk. Chad's saying that she's really sick today, so she might not feel confident in it, which is also fair enough. Oof.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do Master Sword Silverless when I felt like Superman. I can see that as well. But alright, Aga one time for Laoria. Oh, actually, apparently both runners are very sick, which is a really yikes. Shout out to them for still racing despite being sick this week.
Yeah, I think part of like the surprise of this move from Laoria is just from the standpoint of, I don't know, if I was in that position, I would definitely be extra concerned just from the fact that, like, it's been a dangerous seed and it probably feels slow at this point just from, you know, all the deaths we had on both sides today. You know, I definitely feel there's some, you know, there's got to be some worry from both of our runners.
Yep. Laoria is finished up with Aga 1, is now going to save Squirt, presumably to get her mirror, I'd assume. In the meantime, Amarith is heading for land mode now. Unfortunately for Amarith, this is just the pendant. Amarith's still really hoping to find that some form of way to complete any of her remaining dungeons really. Has no hookshot and is kind of stuck as a result of it.
Now, of course, the other element I would think about here is, does Laoria also consider filling up a bottle? You know, we've got 2 bottles. I don't think she has any blue or red potions at this point. She might still have a green, but I'm not entirely sure. But without an invincibility item, you know, no cape, no Cane of Burna, do we want to pick up that possibly? Oh, does she have a fairy as well? Okay.
She has a fairy. I don't think she actually used it because she caught one in Mire. Now that is her mirror, and this should be a ALTTPR fairy.
Remembers to mirror real quick before heading in.
Yeah, apparently according to Windflux, yeah, both runners are sick, which is just ouch. Now, Amarith, having started to run low on options, decided to clear out Mire, which is, from her perspective, a better play than it's one of her only remaining plays, really, not having a hookshot. Certainly a better play than 3 checks left she has in pod, at any rate. Unfortunately, those 3 checks she has left in pod include her hookshot.
But Laoria is going to be collecting her Tempered Sword shortly, and then I'm assuming or hoping, you know, that that's all it was, just to get that Tempered Sword and then drop in on the Ganon fight.
I sincerely hope so, because if she thinks it, so for some reason thinks it's 7th Crystal Ganon or something, then we're in a bit more trouble. But that is another green potion and her Tempered. Getting reminded that she only has 2 bottles, and the other one has a fairy in it.
So I think that's good equipment at this point for a Ganon fight. You know, we're safe with the fairy revival, and then we've got we can expect maybe some extra fire rod shots, maybe try to get some triples in there. So Azure, on Amarith's side, she has to head into pod for that hook shot.
Yeah, because her hookshot locks her bits, which because her hookshot locks Swamp, it locks Terra, and it locks her bits for Turtle Rock. She just generally can't get it. She literally cannot finish the game without hookshot today, unfortunately. And she already did most of pod earlier. The Laoria failed after the Moon Pearl in the first chest, and Amarith chose to do everything but the Dark Maze and Helma. And unfortunately, abandoned her hookshot in the Dark Maze. And the other thing is, too, that, of course, TR was key-locked, and she might have been able to complete TR if it had better key layout, but no such luck. Yeah, mirror locked by key layout because it is inverted. Laoria taking a death to get in and using her fairy.
And unfortunately does not get the torch glitch, so we're going to be in for a little bit longer of a fight, but luckily Laoria does have a green potion. So even with these fire rod shots, we'll have plenty of magic to get through this fight, and all 12 of the tempered sword spins to finish it.
Yeah, no problem, yeah. So this has definitely been a fairly confusing race. Settings weren't super crazy, but the item locations got pretty nuts.
But Laoria is getting through these spins, and there we go. That is the last spin to take down Ganon. So all Laoria has to do is get across that bridge, and we'll take home the win for Please Clap. So get those GGs in chat for Laoria.
GG's, 159.38, just barely cutting the sub 2. And hello, joining us in interview booth, GG's.
Hello.
So, how was that seed?
Oh my gosh.
Can I apologize really quick? I'm sorry.
You know, I was going to be okay with inverted. I was okay with that. I would have been even okay with inverted entrance, but Enemizer, Jesse, please.
This Enemizer was kind of miserable, yeah.
Yeah, the enemy placement in this seed was definitely one of the worst ones I've seen in a while from an Enemizer.
I was sitting there terrified the entire time. I'm not going to lie. Like, Enemizer is not super my wheelhouse, like, if I don't know that I'm going to get it. Like, when I saw Enemizer on the screen, I was so hoping and literally just sitting there like, please be just boss shuffle, please be just boss shuffle. But, like, it worked out. I felt really bad about some of the early deaths, but at the same time, like, I was able to get better gear, come back later.
Yeah, we definitely saw that as a big play from you, especially where you got something and just said, I'm not going to gamble the rest of this dungeon without actual equipment. I'll come back eventually. The big one was, of course, Pod.
Oh, yeah. Amarith is currently severely bottlenecked. She went Pod, got the Moon Pearl, and continued through to the back and did everything in there except for the Dark Maze and Helmasaur. Due to Dark Maze not being a particularly appealing idea with no lamp and not much in the way of weaponry. Unfortunately, she is not going back very quickly.
So she still doesn't have a hook shot. Oh, yikes.
No, and she can't complete the game without it.
Yeah, I was really worried about that whenever I saw it later, because leaving was totally actually a mistake. I got the Merle and was like, oh, that's super progression. I'm just gonna leave. And then I thought about it literally after I saved and quit. I'm like, I could have kept going. I could have kept doing things, but I mean, it worked out. But it was literally like later when I found out it was a pen and I'm like, okay, it definitely had progression. There was my Moon Pearl. I'm still gonna go back, because at that point I think I had just died to Cold Stare or something like that. So I was like, back to Thieves Town, try again at Cold Stare, or Pendant Pod. Let's go to Pod.
Yeah, makes sense. Amarith is gonna try for a French Vanilla hookshot now. Unfortunately, no such luck. She will very literally last location the I think that's actually 4 remaining Pod, which are the Maze, Big Chest, and Helma. Which is just sad, unfortunately.
Now,
and then she has to get back up the mountain to beat Hera, and at that point, yeah.
I have to ask, the play into Turtle Rock and Aga Tower, you were sure that you were in Go at that point, I'm guessing? Was this just a play for Tempered and maybe Silvers?
Nope. 100%
Wait, what happened?
I miscounted my crystals.
Oh, we were wondering about that.
I literally was like, okay, I'm gonna go into Turtle Rock. It's gonna be my 6th crystal, or at least I hope so. I heard the music, and I mean, music randomized in Mystery, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it was the Dark World dungeon music, which is what Desert had been as well. And Desert had ended up being a pendant, so I was like, uh-oh, okay, this could be a big old waste of time. I ended up mirror locked, so I was like, all right, cool. I wanted to get mirror anyway, just in case I need to go to Swamp. So I went, did agate, went to grab my mirror after having a moment. And then after I grabbed my mirror, I literally stopped and looked at my tracker and was like, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god.
We were wondering if you were just dipping in front of TR to see if your silvers are right there or what, but oh, that makes sense.
Well, and it's funny because they ended up being there anyway, but oh my gosh, it was literally just a derp on my end. 100%.
Yeah, we were confused. We were very confused as to why you were doing that. I mean, sure, Master Sword Silverless is not an appealing play, but then you decided to do the front of TR, which confused us more. Yeah.
No, and I knew after reading the pedestal, or at least I strongly suspected that it was vanilla swords, which is why after finishing all that, I rushed Uncle so fast to see if he had a sword, and when he did, I'm like, okay, cool, we're good. Like, I know where the rest of the swords are, we can play them in whenever we get the things to get them, like, no big deal. But no, the TR play was 100% just a mistake. I just miscounted. I for some reason, thought that Meyer, for whatever reason, I thought when I got the Meyer crystal that it was a pendant. I don't even know. I just didn't count.
Yeah, that's an ouch. Thankful. Then, in which case, good thing you got key locked out of the front.
But yeah, no, I was happy that I ended up locked out, because at that point I was like, okay, it's mirror locked, let's go. And then getting the mirror, I'm like, oh, duh, Leo, please.
Thankfully, you got saved by Amarith not finding the hook shot, and it also didn't help. You decided to bail out of the back of these, having virtually no equipment at that point in time. Yeah, Amarith stuck around, died a lot, did not manage to cope blind the first trip, and lost a lot of time to it ultimately.
Yeah, that was, I mean, like I said, I was terrified the entire time. Like, the entire Ganon fight, I was just sitting there like, okay, she could finish any second, I could be sniped, this is gonna be bad, please just let me win, let's just go, please. Because
that can be a very rough feeling, and that was kind of like, we weren't sure if this was a play for Tempered, you know, we were trying to metagame what was going on internally for you, and you know, it makes sense why what happened, but you know, that was definitely a thought of, hey, could this just be a Tempered play? But at the same time, you know, I'm sure the stress was high for both of you, given hey, I've had a rough run, the Enemizer has not been great, and think, you know, my opponent's about to finish any minute now.
Yeah, that's quite literally what it was. I was sitting there like, afterwards I leaned over to my fiance. I was like, I need you to feel my heart right now, because it was just thumping so hard against my chest. Like, I could feel it without like using a hand. I was just, yeah, a little amped up.
Oh, so I just have to bring up probably the worst enemy we had on this seed, probably. How about that very, very nice Wallmaster in Ice Palace?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that one.
See, I feel happy that I only got baited by it once, but gosh dang it. How many times did I end up ice breaking this seed? Way too many.
Yeah, Amarith also got caught by the Wallmaster. Because you don't
know how you
get
don't.
Wallmasters.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody in this seed would get caught by it at least once. But man.
And Amarith finds that hook shot in pod and is just
staring at it for a second.
That's a rough feeling for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a feels bad moment. Just gonna finish off pod. I'm actually Amarith does know it's a green pendant. I guess is hoping for the item. He decided to bail after doing the big chest and never did the full Helma Slore. And looks like actually Amarith is going to bail without doing Helma as well, which makes sense. It's a pendant, and she can go finish the seed at this point.
Instead, it might be a play to finish Swamp Palace. Interesting.
Or it could be Swamp, which is a 50-50.
She doesn't have the mitts either?
No, she doesn't have the mitts.
Paradox.
Which is such that locked, remember?
Yeah.
She can't.
You think I'd remember that?
This seed was hard hookshot locked. No matter what, you needed that hookshot to finish this seed. So ironic, isn't it? Pendant pod paying off again.
Absolutely.
Ironic or perfection?
Definitely paid out. Had the moon pearl in the front and the hookshot in the back. Unfortunately, failing. Amarith did the back. She did the two chests, and what do you call it? The two chests in the Helmer's Holloway and all that. That just didn't do the dark maze, and that unfortunately cost her.
Yeah, I think this might be. It's very possible. When you get into a map compass shuffle, one of the things you very frequently find runners do is maybe not checking their map too frequently. There comes a point where you're just kind of like, I'm just gonna go do a dungeon, and you don't even check to see, hey, is that a crystal or a pendant? And that's very possible. That's kind of what's happened here.
She did a map check a second ago, and TR was lit up. It was just so fast that I didn't see what it was. But
Same here. Maybe she knows.
Yeah, she might know that it was a pendant, and that this has to be a crystal then.
Which makes sense. But, Amarith, no. But yeah, if she knows that this is if she knows that this is a crystal, this is faster than getting back up to Hera.
Yeah, because then you can just run straight up to the castle after, just hop back in the portal and run back up.
True. So this is the second matchup this week, I believe, for your two teams?
Yes, Wind won against Oro earlier this week, so we went 2 for 2 this week. Feels good, man.
Cool.
Nice, this puts you at 21 points too, so in a really good spot in the division.
Yeah, our division's top 3 in particular are very it could go really a lot of different ways. And so nothing is clinched yet.
Friendly is at 21 points with a match to go still for this week, as well as Hyrule Track and Field is currently sitting at 18 with, it looks like, another match to go this week. So yeah, there's definitely a very tight race at the top of this division.
Right.
And 80 keys.
And Boomer Friendly, they're actually playing against each other right now. Like, that's their pair up this week is Boomer Friendly and Hyrule Track and Field. So
wow.
Yeah.
So for 80 Keys week, what's going on for Team Please Clap?
As of right now, I believe the boys are going to be running 80 Keys week. I am going to take a break after this nonsense.
Fair enough. Yeah. Inverted Randomizer definitely throwing you both for a bit of a loop today.
Yeah, I would take Triforce Hunt any day of the week. I would have traded Wind happily.
So, I guess for that, on that point, is this a strategic option, or is this hey, I've done so many races at this point, or?
For 80 Keys or for Mystery?
For 80 Keys. Mystery is, I'm sure, not one of those easy ones to answer, so.
No,
or at least I'm pretty sure I know why you and Wind ran Mystery Week.
Yeah, and really truly the reasoning is just, entrance is still something that Kazin has not done a whole lot of, and since that's always a possibility, he was like, hey, do you guys fun doing it? And Wind, of course, is very, very much well-versed in Mystery, so he was always going to be on it. So it was between Kazin and I had done just a little bit more entrance, so it's like, okay, let's go. For 80 Keys week, a big part of it is just getting in the race numbers. Technically, I think if I go, I need to check actually. I don't want to lie.
Yeah,
to
I
you.
was just taking a look. It looks like this was your 6th record. I don't know if one of those is a double. Oh, you piloted
One
both
of those is a
week,
double
so
because
that's-
I piloted
okay.
both.
So this is your 5th race at this point officially.
Yeah, I'm technically could be done. I think Wind did his 4th race.
Yeah, it looks like it was his 4th this week.
Yeah, and then Kaizen I think is at 4 as well. So they both needed at least one more, and then week 7 is kind of just whoever at that point.
All hands on deck.
Yeah, really truly. It's gonna just be, you know, who wants to go. We have like a current plan, but that can always change.
And then looking at your end of schedule. This next week is definitely, I guess, the important one in the sense that it is Hyrule Track and Field next week for Team Please Clap. And then End of the Blind for that week 7 matchup.
I'm so hyped for week 7 though. Shout out to my buddy John Snoo. He is subbing in on Land of the Blind, and he and I go way back. We're in the same FC on Final Fantasy 14. Like, as soon as he told me that he was joining that team, I'm like, yo, I'm calling you out week 7. We gotta play. Let's go. I'm excited.
Just so everybody's aware, I have been informed of on this channel. Sorry, let me make sure of that.
Yep, it is going to be on this channel. We will be restreaming Aeronon versus CJ coming up right after.
Ooh.
So yeah, we've got another race in store for everybody. So definitely, stay tuned for that race. We'll try to get Amarith in at least for some interview after this fight with Ganon. But then there will be another race here on ALTTPR League.
Hylian Rhapsody versus New Hyrule Order, Aerodon versus CJ should be a really good match.
Yeah, these mystery seeds have really, mystery is one of those things where the settings can have a huge effect on the end result or the matchup itself. Sometimes it's just you get a nicer set of settings that helps you, or one that ultimately hurts you. We're gonna see the versatility of our runners for sure this week. But yeah, there we go. Amarith has taken down Ganon and has crossed the bridge and has finished with an official racetime.gg time of 2:15:46. Get those GGs in for Amarith.
GG's. Unfortunately, Amarith will not be joining us for an interview, but GG's to her all the same.
So yeah, I guess the question, anything else you wanted to add, Laoria?
I am thrilled that mystery is over. Please clap. I don't know how much better I could say it than that. Just super thanks to you guys for putting this on, Oro for restreaming, Jesse and Star for your awesome commentary. I can't wait to watch this back. And Karma for tracking. I think it was Karma. I'm pretty sure it was Karma.
Was our tracker tonight.
Yes, it was. Thank you to Karma as well.
Yeah, I really, truly, I think that's the big thing. Stick around, watch Aeronon and CJ, because that's going to be a good race.
Yep, I can say from personal experience, both this race that we had tonight and the one later tonight, I hang out with a lot of these people off to the side, and this has been a super serious group of people just practicing their craft. So you're going to see some great runners tonight as well. These are people who we practice almost nightly at this point of, kind of grinding seeds against each other. And, it shows in the results you're seeing here. And definitely, stay tuned for that next race, because similarly, you'll probably see some great results there as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That'll be starting up in a little over 10 minutes. It's currently scheduled for a 10:10 p.m. start right here on this channel.
Yep. So those runners should be starting very soon, and yeah, we'll definitely be seeing that back here very shortly. Once again, make sure to give those runners a follow. Star did put in the chat; those are their links to their channels, so make sure to follow Laoria and Amarith. And then, of course, thank you to our tracker, IB Karma, and our restreamer, Oro. And of course, thank you to my co-com, Star 1468.
And thank
Has been
you
a pleasure.
to Radical Sniper here as well for commentating with me. I definitely learned a lot about Inverter today. Good times.
Yep. So until that next race in about 10 minutes, have a great night, everybody, and hope to see you for that next race.
Yep. Thanks for watching, everyone.